Have you ever wondered how some people just seem to know things without explanation? This is the realm of claircognizance, a whisper of the occult that suggests knowledge can arise from beyond ordinary senses. Claircognizance is the intuitive ability to perceive truths and insights without the aid of evidence or prior knowledge.
Alexa, what happens in 2028?
On May 16, 2028 at 4:03 p.m., the ZRV16 virus is accidentally released in the UK, sparking the beginning of the zombie apocalypse.
Do you know 5G at specific gigahertz causes what's called a double-stranded DNA break? It actually busts your DNA in half. You know what happens when you cut both strands of your DNA? You die. Every cell dies. You know there's only one species in the entire world that when you expose it to 5G radiation that is resistant. Snake DNA is the only DNA that won't be broken by the frequencies of 5G radiation. So, if you're going to try to preserve some of the people you're poisoning and trying to kill so you don't kill them all, you better get some serpent DNA into their human DNA, because when we turn on these 5G towers to orchestrate their next pandemics, every single one of them going forward, they put all of the capabilities inside those towers to run 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, microwave technology, all of which they know will damage our DNA and kill us.
If you put in the body a chemical that would block the ACE2 pathway in the right configuration, and you turn on the right frequency, people died like they died of COVID. They suddenly got weak, they lost other fluid, they started having pulmonary symptoms.
The studies show you can increase the replication rate 600 times for mold if you expose it to 5G frequency. The studies on E. coli, for example, E. coli is used as a vector for all this. Everybody has E. coli in their body. All the worms in your body are full of E. coli. They expose E. coli to different types of frequency ranges, and it caused an increased uptake of glucose within hours of turning on frequencies. They can activate the yeast in your body, and it just goes boom within hours, and it just completely poisons you. I believe, and many other doctors believe, that they were doing that and testing that during the last pandemic.
This is the X-15 research aircraft, designed to investigate the problems of manned flight in a near space environment. Altitudes up to 50 miles, speeds up to Mach 6. High-speed aerodynamic heating, structural design, aircraft stability, and control in space and re-entry. This was the kind of information it was to provide, and provided it did. Here's the story.
It was all pretty much routine. We, North American that is, went up there check out the air, check out the system.
That's a good light, that's a good light.
Engine is started, and the aircraft accelerates rapidly, quickly leaving the B-52 far behind. On this flight, the plan called for build-up of 1,500 pounds per square foot of dynamic pressure before. Note the rapid acceleration as the aircraft drops away from B-52. And the steep climb-out angle. Now the pull-out to level flight, and the horizon once again is seen behind the tail of the aircraft. The pilot banks the X-15 to visually judge for himself the landing site relative to his position. Speed brakes close, and the pilot guides the aircraft into an approach pattern for a landing on Rogers Dry Lake.
They're anywhere from 7 to 22 feet tall. They can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. The longer, the ones that have stubby tails, if you see one that has no tail, he's of the warrior class or the worker class. The longer the tail, the higher their rank. When you see one with long tails, with winged appendages, he's considered royalty. They have two hearts. There's one here, underneath this armpit, and one here. Or if you can't get to that area, you need to slow it down, you need to hit it right above his groin area, where it's a very large liver. You need to wound it there to slow it down. It's not something where man-to-man combat you're going to be able to deal with, because they apparently have a strength of 12, 15 men. They're incredibly quick. They're incredibly psychic. They know what you're going to do before you do it. And you know, if they get him in mass, we got real problems. Real problems. There are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles from the surface. They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time. They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They are carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here. Are they carnivorous? They eat humans? Yes. And they need to be, they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the kill. Their preference is children. You know, and we've been told, you shouldn't talk about that. They're anywhere from 7 to...
Couldn't penetrate deep enough into the cell. And that's why, so what would happen is, when all these towers were put up, you'd see kids that were, you know, they would get burns underneath their skin. It's because the graphene cooks them from the inside out.
Jeez.
And this is what I've been explaining to people, is your body's a liquid crystal. And a crystal is basically an antenna. So you have hundreds of thousands of millions of crystals in your body. And that's how your body communicates with itself. So how do they shut these things down? Heavy metals. Your autonomic function shut down. It's so simple. But they overcomplicate it, and then you're talking to some doctor, you have a cancer disease, and there's a bunch of doctors in the room, they're saying stuff that's going over your head. Next thing you know, you're signing a document to get surgery. It's all money.
Breaking news. In less than 24 hours, technicians have been able to identify the technology used to fake the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Amazon Studios has developed a state-of-the-art virtual production facility known as Stage 15, located in Culver City, California. This advanced soundstage features an impressive LED volume wall, a massive curved LED screen measuring 80 feet in diameter and 26 feet in height. The LED wall comprises approximately 3,000 LED panels and is equipped with Hun motion capture cameras, enabling dynamic and immersive backgrounds for film and television production. This studio can be transported and set up at any location around the world. Since there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, the only manner past Will Duffy had to fake a 24-hour sun was to take advantage of Amazon and Disney movie-making capacity. A combination of movie studio and a real trip to Antarctica and a Hollywood editing process will make this fraud almost impossible to be detected, spread the world far and wide.
And just to put a little...
Breaking news. In less than 24 hours, technicians have been able to identify the...
This atheist girl doesn't believe in God. Watch this.
Do you believe in God?
No.
You're an atheist?
Yes.
Why?
I don't think there's enough proof.
If I gave you proof, would you change your mind?
Yeah, it would have to be pretty good proof.
I can give you pretty good proof in about 1 minute. Should we give it a try?
Sure.
Every building is proof of a builder. Every painting is scientific proof of a painter. We know that. Builder could have died 100 years ago, but you know there was a builder because the building's there. Painter could have died 300 years ago, but you know there was a painter because paintings don't paint themselves. Creation is evidence of a creator. An atheist believes the scientific impossibility that nothing created everything. If you believe there was no creator, then everything was created by nothing, not from nothing, but by nothing, and that's scientifically impossible.
Who created God?
God is without the dimension of time. We are in time. We have to wait for time to pass. But God dwells in eternity, and that's where you're going to go when you die.
So, then when we fight malaria, what's our target? Do we kill the mosquito or the parasite that lives inside? Or both? During World War II, the U.S. went with kill the mosquitoes. The United States was declared malaria-free in 1951. What started as the Office for Malaria Control in War Areas turned into the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, which these days tackles all sorts of other diseases and health emergencies. But the brute force tactics that made North America and Europe largely malaria-free weren't as easy to implement in the rest of the world. And both the parasite and the mosquito, they don't take losing easily. Today, the fight to eradicate malaria means disrupting the transmission of the Plasmodium parasite. But how do we outsmart the parasite before it outsmarts us? It's simple. Just do the math.
Malaria is a pretty complicated disease, and math provides a way of incorporating everything that we know into one unified description. And then we can put it in a computer, and the computer model helps us understand various different components.
And make predictions.
Exactly. We can test those hypotheses in the computer, and they can be implemented to much greater success.
It saves us a lot of time and a lot of wasted effort.
And money, too.
Alongside the math, we've also got new and better tools to help us in our quest. Lab coats, personal protective equipment. That's when you know science is about to happen. Let's go.
Here we have some examples of our rapid diagnostic tests. So you can see it's just this little device. And put a little blood sample there, and then about 15 minutes later, you'll get a line that shows up that indicates whether you have malaria or not.
It's just like a pregnancy test, basically.
It's very much like a pregnancy test. It's very easy to read. As you can see, it's very small and very light, so it's easy to get these to hard-to-reach places.
It's incredible that you can get so much information from such a small test.
It really is.
Yes, science has helped us develop better drugs, bed nets, and tools to detect, treat, prevent, and in many cases, eliminate malaria. And the math, gathering, transmitting, and interpreting good data has let us better target our work. But getting to the end game with malaria also needs something as old as us. Sheer human effort, reaching the hardest hit people in hard to reach places with the right treatment at the right time. Science, math, and logistics. If we get all three right, we might just defeat malaria once and for all.
The Marburg virus, I want y'all to go print out the symptoms, look it up. What are the symptoms of Marburg virus if somebody gets it? Print it out off the internet and lay it down. And then I want you to type in boom, slang, snake, venom side effects and lay it right next to it. Boom, slang, snake, venom. There are over 20 manufacturing facilities in China right now manufacturing that venom synthetically and have been for decades.
And we know the mechanism by which this will be released, and that is inside of these shots that people already received, inside the lipid nanoparticles, the hydrogel, there exists pathogens inside of the particles that have not yet opened.
The Latin definition of the word virus means venom. And the same organizations that are telling you there's this health crisis out there from another virus, every time they say virus, they're actually telling you what it is. It is weaponized venom.
With a man about radiation, the hazardous biological effects. Very harmful. Yes, I tried to show him all the proofs. His ignorance was through the roof. The most deluded man I'd ever met. Totally programmed. I showed him how the frequencies disorient and kill the bees. I showed him how the birds drop out the sky. But there's one. I showed him all the many trees dying as they lose their leaves. And I showed him the antenna right nearby. It's right there. And I showed him all the many places with judges and the legal cases, people fighting this technology. Look at that! And I showed him from my science buddies 1,000 scientific studies, but he just laughed, and that's when I could see that no amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. No amount of evidence, it seems. No amount of showing you 100 or 1,000 proofs will ever get your blinded eyes to see. Oh, no amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. No amount of evidence, it seems. How quickly with your condemnation without real investigation sounds like ignorance to me. I showed him doctors speak at public hearings, protesters on the streets are cheering. They've done their research, they know the facts. Critical thinkers. They've seen all the evidence, they know it's a carcinogen. The WHO will tell you that. It's on the website. I showed him all the scientists that study this, and they've all been appalled at what they've found. I'm not surprised. They petitioned the United Nations trying to stop this radiation. They know it's bad and they don't want it around. Listen to science! Technology destroying cells, affecting memory as well. Destroying your immune system, it's true. Look at that! Interfering frequencies are a threat to the health of humanity. Just research a little and you'll find proof. You've got the internet! This new level of radiation of wireless communication has had no safety tests, and that's the truth. Look it up! Yes, I told him to remember that, because that's another damning fact. Will you listen? When it comes to street news, no amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. No amount of evidence, it seems. No amount of showing you 100 or 1,000 proofs will ever get your blinded eyes to see. Oh, no amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. No amount of evidence, it seems. How quickly with your condemnation without real investigation sounds like ignorance to me. Well, how about this observation? You know this new fifth generation is using millimeter frequencies. Very tiny. And according to the military guys, these sound waves can be weaponized, but you think it's conspiracy theory. This is frustrating. Then let me share this information. The military uses this radiation as a weapon to diffuse an angry crowd. Look at that! They blast out 95 gigahertz. It fries the people and they disperse. He looked at me and then he laughed out loud. This is painful. And you're gonna need a funeral hearse when you get to 60 gigahertz, because that will really take your breath away. Quite literally. Absorbing oxygen molecules, and they install this stuff near schools. Come on, kids, let's go outside and play. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. No amount of evidence, it seems. No amount of showing you 100 or 1,000 proofs will ever get your blinded eyes to see. Oh, no amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. No amount of evidence, it seems. How quickly with your condemnation without real investigation sounds like ignorance. I got the cognitive dissonance! I am the God of hellfire! Sorry about that.
Fifth generation technology promises faster download speeds and conveniences that most of us have never dreamed of, but will also be blanketed with a new type of radiation called millimeter waves. Health experts are warning about the rising risk with a 5G rollout.
Scientists from 42 countries are now warning their governments about the emerging health problems associated with wireless radiation.
The most prevalent symptoms include headache, fatigue, decreased ability to concentrate, tinnitus, irritability, and insomnia. Impacts on the heart and the nervous system are also of great concern. We predict that the number of people who develop the symptoms I just mentioned will rise in the places where 5G is first installed.
Dr. Magda Hamas is internationally recognized for her research on the biological effects of electromagnetic pollution.
At lower frequencies, scientists are predicting damage to eyes, loss of insect populations which are already declining, antibiotic resistance in bacteria, and physiological effects on the nervous system and on the immune system.
Radiation from radio frequencies is classed in the same category of carcinogens as lead. One advisor to the World Health Organization said there's enough evidence that if they were to reevaluate radio frequency radiation,
it would be placed in class 1, i.e. a human carcinogen.
That's not fucking funny! That's not funny!